Now it's time to look at superior mesenteric artery as indicated in the diagram. It originated at level of L1 vertebra below the celiac trunk. It supply distal to the duodenum and proximal two-third of distal part of the duodenum and proximal two-third of transverse colon, which is known as midgut. Let's look at its branches. The first branch is inferior pancreatico-duodenal artery. We have looked at superior pancreatico-duodenal artery, which was a branch of gastroduodenal artery. Here you can see indicated inferior pancreatico-duodenal artery. It supplies inferior part of the pancreas and duodenum. This is a part of duodenum. Next branch is iliojejunal artery, and it supplies the ileum and jejunum. That's why it has name iliojejunal. It supplies through many branches into the mesentery. Here you can look at the iliojejunal artery. From here to here, all branches are known as iliojejunal. Next branch is known as ileocolic artery. It supply ileocolic junction. It means junction between cecum and ileum. This is a ileum, this is a cecum, and junction it is supplied by this artery, and this artery is known as ileocolic artery. Now the next branch is known as right colic artery, which supply right part of the large intestine, right part of the colon. It means ascending part of the colon. This is a right part of the colon, ascending part of the colon, and it is supplied by this artery known as right colic artery. The next artery is middle colic artery, and it supply transverse two-third of the transverse colon. Two-third of the transverse colon. Due to the section of the cutting of the transverse colon in this diagram, you can't see the supply, but you can see origination of the artery, that is middle colic artery here. Now let's look at the renal artery. Renal artery, as name suggests, it supply to the kidney, and it arises below the superior mesenteric artery at the L2 level of vertebra. It has a single extra branch, that is inferior adrenal artery, and it supply to the adrenal gland inferiorly. Let's look at the specifically supply of adrenal gland. The first branch that supply adrenal gland is superior adrenal artery. Here you can see this is a inferior phrenic artery, which was the first branch of abdominal aorta, as we have seen, and it gives rise to superior adrenal artery, and it supplies superior part of the adrenal gland. The next branch that supply adrenal gland is middle adrenal artery, which is directly coming out of the abdominal aorta. Here you can see this is a middle adrenal artery. In some anatomical variation you cannot see this, but most of the cases it is present. The next artery that supply adrenal gland is inferior adrenal artery, which is originated, as I have mentioned, from the renal artery. Here you can see the inferior adrenal artery.